Hi, this is Rich. Welcome to my blog and welcome to Akvila's blog because we're going to load them up on both our blogs. Yeah. Hey, what's to learn about doing serious entity work? Hmm? We asked because Akvila and I have been doing serious entity work. See, it's much more important, you see, than frivolous entity work. Who does that, right? So yeah. So what's
Scammers,
up?
that's who.
Yeah, scammers. Yeah. Well, we do serious entity work. Yeah. We what do we do? What what did we
Play
do today?
around, talk nice to each other.
What did we do today? We did a session today.
Yeah, we worked on like getting back my loving aspects. We did some auditing on past lives, targeting entities, breaking soul contracts, different things like lots.
Yeah, we're just doing like what's it called? Smorgasbord techniques here. Yeah, I asked Gavia what she would like to address. She said, "Oh, getting some of my loving aspects back, like soul fragment retrieval stuff." And so, do we just go, "Oh, okay, look for your soul fragment that was loving and go fetch"? No, no. What do we do first? Do you remember?
Yeah, well, first like we just talked to each other about like what happened, like just locating the time when I had it, when I had the loving aspects. There's just like I didn't think what kind of loving aspects I want to have back, like have back, or when did I had it, and then just move through the time and just like recalling times when exactly did I lose it. So just like going through time and just having that recall.
Yeah. So the way I do it to help the person get in touch with that aspect that they've lost is like you go to a time that it got lost, but then move just before that where you still had it. And then it's like, then you can start doing, it's like traumatic incident reduction sort of stuff, which can go into past lives. So anyway, I got Agvila back to the time where it was the loving aspects were there. So she get familiar with it and in touch with it. And then going through the incident a few times uh, and helps sort out and understand the phenomena, what caused it specifically, that part of you to be fragmented and splintered off. And sometimes we will do it ourselves. We will compartmentalize a part of ourselves, like the trusting self. You trusted something one too many times, and you go, "Fuck that, never again," because it got screwed up. You got screwed over or something. So that'd be you uh, kind of fracturing or splintering or compartmentalizing your trusting self. Park it in the garage under a blanket or something. Maybe later you'll bring out your trusting self. No, good luck with that. Kind of like that. But we were addressing her loving self. So we went through that a few times. Yeah. This is going to get to the entity part. See, the idea. No, you tell it.
What was the idea?
Well, what idea? Yeah. The idea is the theory is that there's probably entities involved with you fracturing or splintering off a part of yourself, or something in life, your circumstances causing a part of you to be fractured or splintered off and lost, or abandoned, or hidden, or protected, or camouflaged, uh, or run away, or just disappeared. So there's probably an entity or entities involved. So that's why we start with how we start with the incident when you lost it and go just before that. All right, go through it a few times and get a feel for it, and then this time we went into a past life thing. It was I wanted Agvila to be able to get even a better understanding that this could have happened before in an earlier life. This fragmenting or compartmentalizing a part of her loving self. So we went for that. And what did you find? Did you want to share a little bit about
Well,
that?
like take a break because like we did the past life like in the end of the session sort of, and like before that there were like lots of steps. So I'm not sure like should I just jump all over the session or should we like go like everything's like structured and organized.
No, just tell it the way you want it, because I'm like, what? I don't remember. I just remember the juicy parts. That's all I remember.
Yeah. So going through this is a few times. That was when we were doing the past lives, and that's like I went through it like twice. Because for me, like I don't need to do it too much because everything's just detailed, and you just think about past lives like, oh, okay, yeah, I recall. Like I mean, I even have to look at it like really hard to tell you what happened. Um, so I started exploring like when did I had it, and I just like looked through my life and like the loving aspect, when did I had my loving aspect, and what happened through life, and when did I lose it. So like kind of the years and days and like everything. So to make it all clear, and as I was like going through the whole incident, I find out that like part of me was like just me, basically pushing it out because like I want to give my love and I want to just like I'm like really giving, but then as I give, like no one's taking it, or you give but people don't appreciate it and it fires back and then people blame you and then it's like try to fuck with you and it's like that would happen too much. And start looking into uh, is there anything else? So like started seeing that there are entities messing with us and like ways they're doing it. And after like lots of entity work, we like noticed that like there's also connection with the past life where we did that.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to talk more about the entity part or the past life thing right now?
Well, the past life thing is like for me, it just gave me like okay, this is what I had back then, so it's like just sort of makes sense how it's connected, but it wasn't like oh freaking awesome. Like for me, it's like cool,
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, what I know about this subject is that people like the details. Past life. What past life? What kind of past life was that? But I know it was real intimate and personal, and it was a serious trauma, and it had to do with love and stuff. And I wouldn't want you to have to share it with our YouTube audience, nosy fuckers. So hi, what's up? I'm a nosy fucker too. But what happened exactly? Do you want to share any of the details, like the kind of world it was in and what you see clearly? Because it was very vivid and clear seeing, right?
yeah, I'm like looking through what was it exactly that made me notice that there was a past life because I had a connection. With the past life, it was connected like clearly, like Rich says, with like intimate and relationships and stuff. And there were times where I like lost loving aspect of myself like big time. And one of them like is related to my throat. Like I always have a throat thing. It's like it's a real thing for me, like because nowadays I have a hard time talking. So in past lives I got stabbed in the throat, I got shot in the throat, and then this one like today I found out my head was cut off. It's like okay, just one more thing to the list,
Yeah,
like lots of
no,
things.
it's starting to make sense. I see a pattern
Yeah,
here.
yeah. So yeah, for me in the world like I've seen like it's basically like 13 billion years ago, which is like pretty neat because like it's pretty far back. And it's sort of like like that fantasy world, like sort of ancient as well as like pretty far in the futuristic. It's like everything's like you have armors and like normal clothes and stuff, like nothing like today's. It's like it's sure it's more like uh, armor style and stuff like that. But it was amazing that you would have like armors and weapons, but basically like weapons looks like made from stone. And if you have a specific move like you just bang it to the ground like once like that, it changes the shape and at the same time like activates like a shield or whatever. So clearly they have like ranged laser weapons to block it out, and like because it was like more of a holographic thing, which is like pretty neat. So like lots of those like technologically wise, and like they had like skyscraper buildings but more like stonish and like different things, and it's like pretty amazing. And people had powers back then, so like there's a huge rock, so that you see the person like go like this and they just lift it up and like drop it in the air, and like the huge rock like probably weighs a few tons and it's like lifting up in the air, and like they stop it and push it into the building, so you just like see all kinds of things happening while you're there walking through the through the street.
Wow.
So all kinds of details. Pretty amazing. And what I found out is like which was connected to the entities we were looking for, is that entities can mess with people around you and they can put thoughts in their head and different things. And so that was the connection that got me to the past life, is that in the past lives there were times when entities would literally take over someone's body. Like they would pull out the soul or consciousness, drop it out, lock it, someone like something abducted or whatever, but just make sure that they can take it out and take over the body. So the entity gets into the body, and now the entity can shapeshift. They can use like someone's body as a tool. So basically, if there's a king or something, it's easy for them to take over a king's body, and now like the entity can rule the whole realm. But they were like playing it really nice to make sure that they're not noticed, because like it would, if they were noticed, like things can happen, and they're gonna be found out. So they're starting from like little people that's gonna be unnoticeable. And what happens is that I get into a place where uh, people in town like lock me up, and like I was literally walking through the street, and in order for them to mess with me, they sort of kidnap me and then tie me up, and like I'm literally sitting in the room tied up, and they have screens, so I'm just like seeing what's gonna happen. And in that screen, like I see my lover walking the street, and someone makes a like shapeshifts and has a copy of me. So like my lover thinks it's me, and like they take off to the room, and all of a sudden that that part of me that like fake me starts shifting into other beings, and just like brings up like three other girls, and like so I see my lover like basically cheating on me, that like really hurts, and like I have to watch the whole thing, and that like hurts me a lot. And then I see that other being that was faking me basically starting a fight between me and my lover, so now the whole relationship is broken, and like it's a thing. So now they let me out. Like I was watching like that thing for like a few hours, and I like you just see, you can't, you see it all, you hear it all, it hurts you. So I've been like through that whole thing, and I basically walk out in the street, and I encounter my lover like later at that day, and basically I get the blame. And what happens is that people like literally lock me up in the street, and I watch the whole thing, like where I get the blame, I get the charges for just basically doing nothing. I was just like watching, and like I'm
Yeah.
guilty. So they cut off my head, and I see others like those who shapeshifted into women to cheat on my lover change back to the entities. So now my lover loses everyone that's close to me, to him, and like it's just a thing. So through all those incidents, and like it doesn't take much, but recalling all those times, I've lost a lot. Like you're just watching it, like how you're being cheated on. It like it really hurts. But I've been watching that for like too much to where it's like no more. And the part where before I'm cutting my head off, like I'm just trying to tell the truth of what's going on. And at that time, I've made a decision that the truth will kill you, because I'm trying to share the truth. And the moment I say it, people don't want to believe it. They cut off my head, and I fall. It's like that's it. So they say it's crushing. Like you just like recall all those details. Like it's really bad.
Yeah. Well, so basically, they to mess with you and your lover, they captured you, and then one of these entities pretended to be you, could
Yeah,
shapeshift, look like you, and was out and met your lover, and then you're watching your lover interact with this. He thought it was the real you, and it was a fake you.
yeah,
Uh, and then there was some other girls around too, I guess. Yeah.
yeah,
And they weren't real girls either. They were entities that shapeshifted into this. So then all this stuff went around to torment you,
pretty much.
and then they let you out. So then you go to see your lover and try to explain the truth, and you weren't believed, and the fake you was gone or disappeared or something, was out of the picture now. So, but your lover can't tell the difference, and now the lovers, uh, uh, oh, you're trying to tell the truth of it, and everybody turns on you, uh, and then it causes a big breakup, and then and is this also where you fragmented or fractured your loving part, your loving self away
Yeah,
from
yeah.
your?
Those two incidents, like the first one when I'm watching this whole thing, like because the like it really hurts, and then the moment like I found out that like it's not gonna work, like no one's believing me, like I'm trying my hard to like give it all, and like it fires back and they kill me. Like it were like two bigger parts that like were involved in this incident.
Yeah, it's like fuck that, never again.
So
That's what
like
I'm talking about.
for me it
Serious.
makes sense.
This what?
For me, it makes sense because all these incidents, like, it's not the first time when I was beheaded. Like, I'm recalling the second time, but like, beheaded for talking the truth and different things. And like, I've had this whole thing, like, in my life, like here on physical, that whenever I wanted to share the truth or something that's really important to me, my throat would lock up and it would hurt really bad. Like, for me to talk was like a really hard thing because I would get that like pressure. And like Rich and I literally did some past life work to recall the incidents and like take care of the emotional stuff so that I could get back and start talking again, because like it was just like overwhelming of how hard it was to talk. And like it's
Yeah.
amazing all these connections that how you suffer in the past, and that like cellular memory and how it affects you. It's like comes back to this life, and you can like still feel the effects.
Yeah. Yeah. So then what was next? We just did this a couple hours ago. We just finished doing this particular session that we're talking about today. Uh, uh, did you meet you started going after entities and when minor entities and then higher ups and stuff? How'd that, how'd that go?
Well, the entities and like lower ones and stuff were before the past life. Like I'm literally saying, we're jumping all over the place right now.
Yeah, we
Because it all
were.
started with recalling how it all happened, the loving aspects. Then there was a lot of into fighting entities and how they work, and then also agreements. And then
In
we
this
like,
in this life.
yeah,
Well, yeah,
yes.
well, trauma, the first time or a particular significant time in this life where she lost that loving part of herself.
Yeah, I mean, like
Uh, go
to
ahead.
go like to have everything in sequence, like I'm just gonna repeat myself over, but tracking like where I had a loving part, where like it ended, and that then we move into like looking for entities that were causing this thing, because like it was a bit like too much on steroids, so to speak. And so we're
Mhm.
targeting entities, and there are like lots of ways how they do it. Like they're able to affect our thoughts and like get us triggered. At the same, like they're targeting me a lot, uh, just to stop it, to make sure that I don't have it anymore. So one of the bigger ones was that whenever I try to give my love to someone, like no matter who it is, like if I'm trying to give my feelings to someone, uh, basically archons and the entities that are messing with me will make sure that when I try to give, they will affect my surroundings in a way that people will reject me, or they will like sort of leave me in the background, like the third plan, and go do something else, and like basically give that love, that like, or that connection, or someone else to someone else. So like it was always like I'm trying to give and it backfires, and then I see them doing it for someone else, like fuck, it hurts, so it was like happening too much to the point where I literally just give it all out and sort of gave up. Like I'm just like, nah, it's not working anymore. So like I'm.
So the entities will, something will happen in your life in this lifetime, and it'll cause a certain reaction, but the entities in your space right now will like blow it up, intensify it, put it on steroids, so to speak, and it's like it becomes overly reactive and overly intense, kind of like that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, like there's two parts. Like all of our emotions, whenever it's negative or whenever it means a lot to us, they will make sure that it can get on steroids, like and intensify it. Because the way we react, and if it's gonna hurt us, they're gonna make sure that they can intensify us to get more loosh out of us. There's also another part where, like, whenever I'm giving something, they will affect my surroundings to make sure that it backfires. So, like, I'm
Oh,
doing something good, and it always backfires and it hurts even more. So the more I try to give, the more it is hurting, and it was like happening my whole life. It's like, damn, like
yeah.
pushed me to the point where I just like sort of gave up on that, giving and stuff, because like it was always just backfiring and hurting.
Mhm.
So that's like that little part. Entities are also like pretty good at hanging around with people, and like you can imagine like one person in the middle, and there's like tons of entities around them. Like not every person, but like there's specific people will have it based on their vibration and different things. So those entities will make sure that they can catch out on what I'm thinking, feeling, and stuff, and they will try to make the other person act opposite. So it's not like we have to have a good relationship or anything. I don't even have to know the person. But if I'm like pretty much uplifted, optimistic, being myself, they'll make sure that that person that's affected and starts getting weird thoughts in their head, or hurting themselves, or doing something just to get the attention, or like do something to get me to react in a negative way. And like there's like lots of triggers around me and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And like there's lots of ways of how they're messing with us. So from with all that work, and like people being like messed with in their files, that's where we connected to the past life. After that, we went into getting the different assets of ourselves back. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. 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 All right. You want to tell some more about the big? Like I jump all over the place. What would you like to share next about the?
Well, the interesting part, like I was like getting the different assets of myself back after the remembering like past life, and the part of me like I'm looking at is just like looks like a consciousness, like a little energy ball, and as I'm communicating with it, um, for some reason I've just sort of out there like reached my hand as if I was like to get the head, And that in that kingdom, that world we were, we had a sort of like a hello, like people like say like they shake hands or something. So we would do it in that world. It's like people like take hands, or I mean like take each other's head and like sort of like slowly bump the head, like sort of to sort of connect it, touch it, and then like that's like a transferring of energy and stuff. So like the people
Yeah, we
connect.
do. Yeah, we do it with dogs and cats all the time.
Yeah.
I used to do it a lot with my dog. Yeah, I know what
Yeah.
you're talking. Yeah.
So I did that. Like I did a sort of thing, and like it's funny because it looks like an energy ball, and I'm doing it, and all of a sudden, bam! Like I see myself, like it manifests. So I was seeing myself in every single detail, like how I looked, my hair and stuff, and it had like I'm sure like how to say it, like a little braid or something, but it had like a few uh,
Beads.
beads. Yeah, it had a few beads in the hair, and it was like really interesting because a few days ago or a few weeks ago, uh, first time in a few years I went shopping to get a shirt for myself, and I saw a shirt like that's the one I need to get. So that shirt had like what like had a triangle-ish sort of ending and had beads on like a few things. Like I might take a photo sometime, but and post on the internet or something. But what was interesting is that the beads look exactly like that my other part had in the hair, like exactly the same.
Wow.
It was like whoa. And so I think like I subconsciously picked up on that, which is like why I liked it, why I took it, but
Uh-huh.
just interesting. And
Yeah.
getting those assets back, like pretty much fills me up with energy, or like gets the emotions. So now that I was like feeling pretty empty, like you would like react to the world, but it's not as emotional anymore. You're just like, oh, things happen, like people die, like so. For me, like got like super empty to where like things are happening, and like I don't have any like too much of an emotional reaction. Like I'm just like, whatever. So getting that part of me back, and just like talking to Rich about the incident again after like I got it back, I started getting like tearing up because like that those emotions are coming back. So it's like
Yeah.
it's I'd say like one part is like it's harder to handle because I'm getting emotional again. Second part is like it's good because like I feel more, which like makes me feel more alive, which is pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. And then there was this part about, well, there's two things I want to say. I want to talk about that big entity, like even higher up than the
Yeah.
reptilians. You get turtley looking, had a turtle looking face or something. But before that, this thing about entities being all around us all the time, it's kind of like, uh, let's say another realm, like the astral plane. Let's just say, for the hell of it, let's call it the astral realm. Uh, it's populated with billions of people and other kinds of creatures and demons and stuff, and they're just walking around doing whatever they do, and we're walking around in this physical world doing whatever we do, but it can be in the same location but a different density. In other words, this is human people and these are like entity types, uh, and they walk among us all the time in a different dimension. So uh, the the problem is they can see us, but we can't see them. So they can be doing stuff, and I think I can only imagine they can tune into our density really easy and see us and mess with us, or they can like tune us out. It's like living over an airport and you tune out the airplanes flying over. You don't even hear them anymore. You're used to it. You just kind of filter it out. So I think they can filter us out and just see other entities in their world, or they can not filter us out and they can see us. And unfortunately, there's a lot of these entities in that realm, the astral or lower astral, whatever you want to call it, that enjoy messing with us. And when our bodies fall asleep and we wake up and we start having an out of body experience, sometime we're tuned into their density or the reality of the lower astral plane, and then we can see them and hear them. And because it's new and strange, it can be scary. But they don't hurt us, but they will if we're ignorant about them, they will pretend like they're gonna really get you, but they can't. It's just they can just scare you because of your belief systems and that. So it's kind of like that. And Agvila is able to tune in and see these really quickly and easily. And when anybody does this kind of entity work, that's the whole idea, that you can sense them one way or another. And you're not like sensing all of them all at once. You're kind of tuned into one specific entity or group of entities, and then you do the entity work uh, uh, to get rid of them, get them out of your space. And Agvila has learned how to do it, all the steps and procedures, so I don't have to guide her and tell her each step and stuff. She's just like, oh, there's some, and then she starts doing stuff. So it's to put that in context. That's what we do when she's saying she's seeing all these entities around other people. She can tune in and see what they're doing, and that's how that works. Anyway, go ahead. What?
Other part to add is like me being an indigo kid. Like since childhood I was able to see more than other people. So for me, like I have these weird abilities or whatever you would want to call it. So like I'm just like I feel like an alien because I can walk in the street and literally I'm walking between like the physical earth and the parallel worlds where I can just like I'm walking and literally sometimes if I tune my energy right or something, I'm just like walking the street and bam, tree pops up right in front of me. I'm like, okay, just like don't pay attention. I keep walking, like there's entities like bam starts flying and stuff. So like for me, it's like always like living in the jungle between the like physical and some other realms, and it's sometimes overwhelming. Like I really have to work to tune myself how to like mess up with my vibration to not be able to pick up that stuff because like cause sometimes I get like too high and like I just walk out on the street and like I can literally sit here in my room and like see entities like all over the place because I can just tune to that and like different realms and like I'm seeing different beings and it's just too easy for me.
Yeah, and if people don't understand that, especially young kids, and they start telling their parents and stuff, they just get in all kinds of trouble. You know, the parents start freaking out and put them on, take them to the shrink and put them on meds and all that stuff. And it just makes matters worse when the kids are not understood. And it's really just a being with psychic abilities, clairvoyance, see beyond the physical world, tune into different things, different ways, empathy. Uh, and that's all it really is. But if it's misunderstood and it's out of control, it really destabilizes the the child or the person, and it makes it even worse, mainly because they don't understand it.
Yeah.
And then there are cases where it gets out of hand and it's uncontrollable. They don't know how to. They're unable to control the entity talking to them, or interacting with their physical body, moving their physical body, and doing some serious creepy shit. There's just a lot to this subject, but yeah, to put things in context.
Yeah,
Fun.
I like to split between a few places, like continuing on our subject, but there's also like a lot of that I want to talk about this sort of related stuff because like kids have imaginary friends and they have an easy time communicating to whoever they are seeing, feeling, believing in and stuff. And like people are like sitting down on like to play like I don't know tea party or whatever, and like okay, imaginary friend, just play with the kid. And for kids, it's real as can be. They're like they can literally see the being or actually interact with them, so it's easy. Like I was like I don't know, a few months old, I'm laying in the crib, and I have the memory, like I have the pretty good memory of like I'm laying in the crib, and nighttime I'm awake, daytime I'm like playing with the beings, like I literally see beings like flying on top of me, and like I'm not on top of me, just above me, and they're good. Like I mean, like there's all kinds of entities, and like there's a lot of good beings out there. And, like I'm just like interacting as a kid, and I'm like playing, and I've had it since my whole life. And like literally, I'm walking or just I'm at the house, and I'm like seeing something fly in the sky or something, and like, hey mom, look, and like they can't see it, and I started like understanding to that. I'm gonna get like I started getting blamed for lying to parents and stuff, and I'm like, oh, like I shouldn't do that. So I started keeping things to myself, all the things I've been seeing, hearing, and feeling and stuff. So it's just like pretty much closed up when I was a kid, and because I understood that talking about it will like it doesn't bring anything good, and like people don't believe me, and like how I should react. Like, am I crazy or am I actually seeing stuff that others are not? And I just kept it quiet. And for me, I was lucky to find people like Rich who actually believed me and started talking about it. It's like no, so now it's like real as can be. You know? So
Yeah.
yeah, like I think like a lot of people like at least kids are experiencing that, and uh, if they told wrong people about this sort of stuff, then they're a mess and like go to nut house really easily.
Yeah, yeah. So if you've had experiences like that when you were a kid, just share it in the comments. More people understand this phenomena and share, uh, then other people who read your comments will go, "Oh yeah, so it's not just Rich and Agvila or a couple of people on the internet, but yeah, regular people hey, it's happening to them too. This is a real thing. This is some of the suppressed truth on this planet. They do not want us to know about the multidimensionality of reality and all these phenomena that can occur, that can affect us, and it's being used to control, manipulate, and dominate beings on planet Earth.
Yeah,
Uh,
big time.
yeah.
So coming back to our session, what we were having, like you wanted me to talk about the big being, or what exactly?
Yeah, the big being. It's like kind of the entity, all these tracking, all these entities in the session that we did. We tracked it back to one. You saw some reptilians, and then this other guy or something like that. How that? Did you see? Show me. Maybe you can share. First, I saw blah blah, and then what'd you do to see the next thing up and like that? How'd that work?
Okay, so I probably won't go like all the way, but basically, after finding what I was missing and going after the entities that were affecting my life, we went into the past lives. And after we did all the work there, I was like, okay, I need to come back and do the other work because I haven't finished it. Like I haven't found the higher ups. So I go back into recalling what I did throughout the session, what were like how were those beings affecting me, like little entities and other things. And I'm like looking who's connected, like who's in charge. And I see like a I don't know, 6,000 spaceships in space, like nothing big, like it's pretty often like nowadays. And I see like over like 15 like reptilians who are like commanding them and like giving commands and stuff. And with those 15 reptilians, and we're here on this like huge spaceship, and like I'm here like right here near the reptilians and look at that, and like there's a huge shadow coming close, and like what's that? And so I look into it, like it comes into the light, and there's this huge being, like I don't know, 6 meter tall. I don't know how much it would be in feet or whatever. Like three of
Yeah,
you, Rich.
yeah, about 18 feet high. Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty high,
yeah.
taller than the house. Yeah,
It's pretty big, and it comes in like in a like it's huge, and it has this lot of sort of turtleish looking thing, but more like this triangular shape, and also like squeeze. So it's not like ovalish, but it's sort of like goes into that way. And like it's pretty big, has claws and everything, but it's very good with emotions. Like if reptilians can pick up and give orders and they understand how to set up the situation so that people would be affected and like they are baiting people and causing various situations and orchestrating all those things happening around you, like to mess with you and like have that arc interference or whatever. This one I really don't know what it's called because I saw it the first time, but just being literally easy picks up on empathy and feelings. Like it can read our feelings really well. So whenever we feel something good or bad, that being knows all about it. Like all kinds of feelings and where that one will lead to the other and like all the connections and stuff. So it's like it's master of that. And whenever something happens between people, like they have an emotion trigger like fear or some worry or something, and they start talking, but the talk goes sideways because like it's like person doesn't get their needs met, and so that being can literally make up a plan or like a scheme of where it's gonna go and what to trigger, how to trigger, what thoughts to trigger and stuff. So it's like it reads all of our emotions and can pick up on like what to do exactly to mess up with people so that you would get deluge as much as possible. So
yeah.
it's really big on that.
Wow. So did you handle him, deal with him somehow?
Yeah, yeah.
How'd you do? What'd you do?
I unlocked him, like literally uncreated.
Yeah,
Him
yeah,
and other reptilians like just took care of those and just turned it all like transmuted it into the good energy. So it's pretty easy.
yeah, yeah. This is that part where you go blank real fast. I'm going to say something about this, and it goes blank. They're trying to rip off the narrative, but this is about um, Ptah. Alex Collier talks about these guys. I think it's uh, PTAH maybe. Super powerful beings from really higher realms, dimensions, coming down into this realm. And the Ptah are these very super beings on planet Earth right now. And that's us watching this sort of stuff. There's thousands and thousands of us, and we're here. But we had to like close down and be amnesia and forget it all, and and limit ourselves coming here. But as we wake up, we start accessing our abilities again, and we start realizing how really powerful we really are. Okay, the the dark forces in the multiverse, they don't like us because we are too powerful. They were having a fun time capturing beings and putting them in, seducing them into the physical universe, and then uh, seducing them or deceiving them into every time they drop dead in the physical universe, they go out, but they come right back in. And they got this between lives area that the dark side has control of. And it's all a grand plan to capture loving beings that would love to just live immortal in the multiverse and enjoy the various kinds of games we can play out there. You can play all kinds, but you don't get traps, and it doesn't get so hard. Life doesn't become miserable and painful and over and over and over again without any breaking free with complete ignorance and amnesia and unconsciousness and emotional and physical pain. In the higher universes and multiverse, that doesn't happen. We might play at war and shooting each other and stabbing each other and stealing each other's shit, but it's just like an online computer game. It's all in fun. Hey, this was fun. I blew up his whole fucking castle. Ha. But it's just play. Here, it's gotten too damn serious and painful. And so great beings from higher realms have been incarnating here to help awaken other beings and people on the planet and awaken ourselves to the game and expose the truth and the nature of things, this being a matrix, this being a simulation, this, all this thing about timeline wars and time wars and all this stuff. It's starting to come out, and Ptah, or very powerful beings, are waking up in different ways and have been for the last 40, 50 years. And that's the awakening that's going on. That's part of it. And Agvila and I, we're just doing our part and sharing this one aspect of the entire complex phenomena. Okay. And so when we talk about huge armadas or a lot of spaceships and reptilians watching you or watching me, you feel like you're being monitored and watched. And why you? It's because you're probably not just a normal human being. You came from some big fucking place with a lot of fucking power, and they're doing everything they can. And there's thousands and thousands of us, and there's millions of them throughout the galaxy. This is like their prison planet for the super powerful beings, superheroes, keeping us crunched down. This is my latest theory and story of how and why things are the way they are. It's just my story and my theory. I'm sharing it with you. You can buy some of it, all of it, none of it. It's okay. Everybody's got a fucking story about how it is or isn't. So that was mine.
Good. I mean, like we do the sort of sessions together and we talk about these things, so clearly we have similar beliefs about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think like it's important for people to take away what seems like to make sense for them. Like everyone will have their own reality and how things are. But if they find something useful in this video, it's like, oh, that makes sense. So yeah, they're gonna add that belief to their system. And it's like, cool. But
Yeah.
if they don't like it or feel like, bullshit, like it's their world. Like it's all good.
Yeah. Well, that bullshit part, it's bullshit. Nothing new there. We're seeing bullshit everywhere we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate you guys watching our stuff, and Agvila, I appreciate you doing this stuff.
Yeah. I think like one thing I would like to add is like I think yesterday we did the session with these entities messing with us and stuff, and one of the things we realized is that we had to agree to be so limited because otherwise they would not be able to play this game. Like literally, like the next video I'm gonna upload is like that track with like the whole session we did about it. But they're so affected by us. Like we're huge, and they're more like NPCs, like little like minions doing their own thing. And so they cannot compete with us because we have too much power. What they take years to create, like create a spaceship, we cannot do in 1 second. Like, oh okay, yeah, gone. So for them it takes a lot of time, and to play this sort of game, we had to agree like, okay, it's too hard for you. Okay, let's make it easier. We're gonna be in this physical body, limited, not being able to get our body, not being able to fly, not being able to create lots of stuff, just physical hands like you guys, like to make our like limited ourselves to their level to where like they can mess with us right now because we're brainwashed like or more like mind wiped and stuff, and we're just playing by the rules. So it's like it's a pretty big mess.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Well, good place to wrap it up.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. And comments welcome. We enjoy the comments. We read the comments and get a lot out of it. And good feedback is greatly appreciated. So, oh, and you can also go over to richwest.net, and we've got the soul contract revocation course there, and we've also got the entity removal course and the out of body travel course too. So,
Yeah.
always check that out. Richwest.net. Okay. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.